Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, it is day 19 of RPG A Day 2018, and our question or prompt for today is, if I can bring it up here, what music enhances your game? And so, as you may or may not know, I am a musician. I've been playing the bass guitar for a long time. Played a bunch of guitar too. I'm really kind of rusty on that. And actually, I've been really thinking about picking up a mandocello and a tenor baritone guitar, they're both tuned exactly like a cello. So interesting instruments. But this video isn't about that. It's about music enhancing my game. Way back in the day when I picked up, Dungeons and Dragons for the first time back in 1981, I had the basic set and then quickly moved on to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I remember, looking at those books, the books you can see here on my shelf somewhere, and for hours, and maybe coming up with scenarios and whatnot with all the graph paper and the notebooks and everything like that, and rolling the dice. And I'd have the headphones on, I'll be listening to Rush, all these great albums like Caress of Steel or All the World's a Stage or A Farewell to Kings, 2112, Hemispheres. And it became what psychologists would call a highly paired stimuli. So to this day, when I listen to those albums, I'll think of, my original D&D experiences, that sort of thing, and it's very evocative of that. And I spun some like other albums, like things from Iron Maiden and some Black Sabbath and some other things that kind of sound a little fantasy-ish. But when I think of, especially when I think of AD&D, I think of Rush. These they kind of just the two kind of go together. Two great tastes that go great together. That sort of thing. But let's talk about the modern day. It's interesting thing that the question isn't what music inspires your game, but what music enhances your game. It's funny, I'm not a person that really knows the lyrics to a lot of my favorite songs. It's just not how my mind works. For me, music is very visceral. It's more about the tone. And I don't know if there's any musicians out there that just know about the tone. There's a tone, there's a sound, there's a kind of tonal landscape. Talking about tone is like fishing about spaghetti. It's really hard to do, but music can be very moving for me and be very emotional and just bring up all kinds of images or feelings or what have you. So they can be kind of inspirational, but I don't find that it enhances my game. I don't, I have friends that really are into like theme music, and they'll want to put something on during a particular scene or to create a particular mood or set the stage, and that's not me. If anything, I find that distracting. A lot of times I want to focus on one thing, and especially if I have two things that are really competing for my attention that I really, really like music and like immersion in a role-playing game, it doesn't do it for me. I find it too distracting. And very often, the internal jukebox, the whatever that my brain decides to put on at that particular moment that fits for me in the scene. I don't need to share that music with you, but there may be some music that comes on inside my head, and I don't want the theme music that somebody else or even I have decided should be playing right now to interfere with that, if you know what I mean. So I don't find like that the music itself really enhances my game experience. Sure, sometimes like after a game, I'll be thinking about a particular scene or a particular character, and somehow like a song will come on and it'll make me think of it. Sometimes I'll have some like Our Lady Peace on. Maybe the song Navid will make me think of my musketeer Philippe in some bizarre way. And sometimes I like to, I don't want to say get amped up by listening to some music before the game, but sometimes I just enjoy listening to some music. But it generally, there doesn't seem to be a lot of mixing of the two, or where certain songs are definitely a theme song for this campaign or this character or this idea or whatever. They seem to kind of live in separate rooms in my brain. They're both important. They're both near and dear to me, but I don't find that one enhances the other. Maybe I am an anomaly. Maybe it's a little odd, but they're not something that it isn't something where I find that a particular piece of music or having a tonal palette playing in the background enhances my game. So yeah, that's my kind of boring and surprising answer to a good question. But I'd like to hear what you have to say about it. Have a good one, kids.